a mysterious door swings open, taunting a boy who's been crushed by bullies his whole life to step into the unknown. On the other side, he stumbles into a treasure trove of priceless artifacts and a world bursting with magic and monsters. Shockingly, he can haul anything he wants back to Earth with him. It won't be long before this secret double life flips his world upside down and changes him forever. Let's get into the story without wasting more time. Yuya, a big-hearted guy with an even bigger frame, often felt like a lone wolf. His loneliness was heavy, but he never gave up on finding a friend. One day he saw Kaori, a girl in hot water with a bunch of older guys. Even though Yuya was battling his own demons, he couldn't just stand by. He jumped in to help, taking on the bullies and getting banged up in the process. Kaori wanted to take him to the hospital, but Yuya, used to roughing it, just waved her off, saying he was okay. Back at his grandpa's house, Yuya couldn't escape his past. Bullying memories kept haunting him. The only thing that kept him going was his grandpa's lessons on kindness. After middle school, Yuya hoped for a fresh start, but his dreams hit the wall when he saw nasty notes in his yearbook. Forced to repeat a year and losing his part-time job, he felt like a total loser. One day, while exploring the house, he found a hidden door. Stepping through, Yuya found himself in a bizarre new world and got a first-time traveler to a different world badge. He discovered a letter in a strange language, but with his new language comprehension skill, he could read it. The letter revealed the house's previous owner planned to end his life and left the house to whoever found it first. In this new world, Yuya discovered a stash of cool weapons, starting with the ominous sword, which taught him swordsmanship. He trained hard, mastering true martial art, and became a fierce fighter. After slaying an ogre and earning rewards like a magic stone, an ogre's fang, he made around 1,500,000 yen and headed home. The next morning, Yuya woke up in pain. His body had shrunk and his clothes were way too big. Using his new powers, he whipped up a new outfit and returned to the other world. There, he started an herb garden, adapted to his new life, and fought creatures for valuable items, turning them into cash. With his new wealth, he splurged on a slick school uniform. When Yuya went back to school, everyone was blown away by his transformation. His classmates and siblings were amazed, and some even envied him. Just as he was adjusting to his new popularity, a car pulled up to the school, and out stepped Kaori, the girl he saved. She spotted Yuya and excitedly called out to him. Kaori from Usei Academy spotted Yuya and recognized him right away, even though he'd slimmed down like a balloon losing air. She remembered how he'd saved her at the tea shop. Yuya was shocked at how glam she looked and realized she was the girl he helped but never got her name. He asked how she tracked him down, and Kaori said she'd played detective to thank him. As a student council member, she invited Yuya to join her school. Yuya's jaw hit the floor. Kaori explained her dad, the school's big cheese, wanted to reward Yuya's bravery with a spot at Usei Academy. Yuya felt like a total fraud because his grades were in the dumps, but Kaori said the school cared more about being a decent human than acing exams. The teacher with her told Yuya to drop by the school for a day. He agreed. When they got there, Yuya was floored by how massive and fancy the school was. It felt like stepping into a dream. They introduced him to Tsukasa Huju, the headmaster, who gave him a big, warm welcome. Tsukasa thanked Yuya for being a hero and offered him full admission with all the bells and whistles covered. Even though Kaori was singing his praises, Yuya was still sweating bullets because the school was known for its brainiac students. Tsukasa noticed Yuya's jitters and said that hard work beat raw smarts any day. Yuya wondered if he fit in, but Tsukasa assured him that effort could turn anyone into a star. To help Yuya decide, Tsukasa gave him a grand tour. In class, Yuya was a bundle of nerves because the students were buzzing with excitement. He introduced himself and plopped down next to a girl named Huju-san. He was too shy to ask for her textbook, but she slid it over before he even opened his mouth. Yuya felt a bit awkward but started to chill out. Kaori hoped he was having a blast. In class, Yuya found the lessons pretty cool. Afterward, his new classmates mobbed him with questions, but a guy named Ryu stepped in to give him some breathing room. Ryu invited Yuya to lunch where they met Shingo. They gabbed about anime, clubs, and video games while munching away. Ryu joked about being in the Going Home Club, and everyone cracked up. As Yuya chowed down, he noticed some students eyeing him like he was a rare Pokemon. He wondered if his clothes were a fashion disaster, but Ryu told him it was his face. They were blown away by his transformation. After school, Yuya headed back to Tsukasa's office. He said the school was epic, but he still wasn't sure if he belonged. Tsukasa pumped him up, saying Yuya had mad potential. Finally, Yuya decided to dive into Usei Academy. After that, Yuya told Kaori he was in, and they hit a bustling marketplace, eating and goofing around. Yuya fretted about packing on pounds, but Kaori told him to chill. Later, Yuya went home but figured he'd pop into the other world before school started. In the other world, Yuya took on some beasts as usual, but noticed his stats were stuck like a broken record. He went after a goblin, but a girl suddenly popped up and warned him about its sneak attack. After Yuya squashed the goblin, the girl fainted and asked who he was before collapsing in his arms. When Yuya got back home, he tackled ironing his uniform and couldn't shake off worries about the girl he'd saved. He daydreamed about knights swooping in to rescue her from the forest and felt a bit better. While he was ironing, it hit him that he'd been rocking the same clothes since he slimmed down, even though he washed them every day. Realizing his wardrobe was seriously outdated, he hit the boutique for a style upgrade. At the boutique, Yuya's dramatic new look turned heads like he was a walking fashion show. This sparked wild rumors among the staff and shoppers that he might be some sort of big shot actor. Meanwhile, at the mall, the director of a photo shoot was having a meltdown because the main lead was MIA. He was ranting to the manager while the female lead tried to keep things chill. Frustrated with the holdup, the director decided to hunt for a replacement right there in the mall. As Yuya browsed through clothes, people were practically gawking at him. Two girls, totally starstruck, approached him. At first, Yuya thought they might be pushy salespeople, but soon realized they just wanted to be buddies. He politely turned them down, leaving them totally flabbergasted. Meanwhile, the director and his assistant were on a mad dash to find a stand-in, while the manager was losing it. The girls, still reeling from their encounter, eventually said they'd met someone so impressive it was like meeting a god and felt they'd live longer just from being around him. Yuya, oblivious to the director's scheming, kept shopping. The director, eyeing Yuya, decided he was the perfect fit for the shoot and offered him the lead role. Yuya agreed, seeing the crew's dilemma. Despite feeling like a fish out of water, he posed with the female lead, who was a total pro and made him feel at ease. Yuya was impressed by her dedication and really got into the shoot. Back in the other world, the princess Yuya saved couldn't get him out of her head. Her knights warned her not to go back to the forest, but she was dead set on finding and thanking Yuya. Her worried dad let her go with the knights for safety. After the shoot, the actors took a break. Yuya, sitting next to the female lead, sneezed and turned down her offer of a handkerchief, not wanting to mess up his new threads. He admired her professionalism and asked about her modeling gig. She said modeling was her way to get noticed and loved by fans, and she encouraged Yuya to chase his dreams, believing in his potential. Then the original male actor staggered in, looking like he'd had one too many drinks. He tried to drag Miu off, but Yuya stepped in, stopping his aggressive moves. The director showed up ready to spill the beans about the actor's bad behavior and offered Yuya a spot in their agency. Yuya turned it down, but got some fresh clothes as a thank you gift. Miu said she wanted to see Yuya again before leaving. On his way home, the director noticed Miu's obvious crush on Yuya. Yuya zipped back to the other world and rescued the princess and her knights from some nasty monsters. Grateful for his heroics, the princess declared she wanted to marry him. Princess Lexia totally flipped the script by proposing to Yuya. Owen, the grumpy guard captain, raised an eyebrow and warned her to be careful because of her high-status royal butt. Even though Yuya had done some seriously heroic stuff before, Owen was still playing it safe. Lexia, brushing off Owen's concerns like they were crumbs on her dress, told Yuya she was head over heels for him since the first time she laid eyes on him. Owen was steaming like a kettle on full boil, but Lexia was having none of it. She was all about her independence, despite Owen's protective glare. Yuya, being the gentleman he was, warned her about the dangers of monsters and offered her a spot at his place to crash. Owen's jaw nearly hit the floor, but he was also kinda amazed that Yuya was legit. At Yuya's place, they had a tea party like it was the Queen's tea time. Owen introduced himself as the captain and Lexia as the princess, giving Yuya mad props for his heroics. Yuya, feeling like he'd been wearing his "I'm just a normal guy" sign, realized he'd been way too chill about meeting royalty. Owen, probably still simmering, mentioned that Lexia's status was off the charts high, and Yuya felt like a total fool. Owen reassured Yuya that their visit was all chill and unofficial, and praised him even more. He asked Yuya about his unique name, guessing it might have some noble roots. Meanwhile, Lexia was off in her daydream land, much to Owen's irritation. Yuya, trying to wrap his head around all this, got back to the proposal talk. Lexia, not missing a beat, confessed her feelings again and proposed for the umpteenth time. Yuya was touched but kinda freaked out, feeling like this was all happening way too fast. Lexia, ever the smooth operator, suggested they kick things off as friends, and Yuya agreed. Owen, who seemed like he was running the show, said they wanted to invite Yuya to the palace on the king's behalf. Yuya was stoked but also a bit bewildered, agreeing to come in 5 days. Owen made it clear they needed to head back with an answer pronto. Yuya thought about spilling his true identity, but hesitated, wondering if the king could chill still for a bit. Lexia and Owen bounced, with Lexia vowing to win Yuya's heart next time. Meanwhile, the leader of the failed assassins was plotting revenge on her for their epic fail. Yuya marked the king's meetup on his calendar, which just so happened to fall on his first day at Usei Academy. Despite his attention-grabbing entrance, he was warmly welcomed by the chairperson and then joined his new class, where he spotted some familiar faces. During a football match, Ryu wowed everyone with his skills, and Yuya, showing off his own chops, caught the girl's eyes big time. While watching, he ran into Kaede Kazama. In a jaw-dropping moment, Yuya booted a ball heading straight for Kaede, leaving everyone's jaws on the floor. In the girls' changing room, they were all buzzing about Yuya's skills and charm, calling him the ultimate prince. Kaori showed up and the girls started speculating if Yuya had a girlfriend. They hoped he was single and Kaori was especially keen. Little did they know Yuya had a proposal hanging in another world. Later, the Red Ogres gang roared up to the school on their bikes and Yuya's siblings were riding with them. Kaori stepped up to confront the gang, demanding to know what their deal was. The gang leader, all riled up, named Kaori as their target, blaming her for letting Yuya's siblings into the academy. They planned to kidnap Kaori before the cops showed up. Yuya, seeing red, charged at the gang leader and took them down like a pro, saving Kaori in the process. When the cops rolled up, they nabbed the gang. Yuya made sure his siblings were safe from the gang leader's wrath, showing he was all about family loyalty. His siblings, deeply moved, apologized for their missteps. Yuya got ready to explore, remembering Sage Owen's warning about the dangerous area he was entering. Ignoring Owen's advice, Yuya found a monster and defeated it easily. He saw that the forest was less dangerous than he had expected. While walking, he heard a dog's cry and saw that ogres were attacking it. Yuya realized the ogres were too strong for him, so he decided to retreat. Even though he felt conflicted by his grandfather's moral teachings, Yuya hurried back to help the dog. To his surprise, he defeated the ogres with a simple, aggressive charge. Thinking about the power of his weapon, which was made by an unknown sage, Yuya took care of the injured dog and gave it a healing potion. As the dog recovered, it bonded with Yuya, who decided to give it a home. On impulse, Yuya shared that he had learned a skill to recruit monsters as allies, and the dog decided to join him. Impressed by the dog's strength, Yuya named him Knight and made him his ally. Back home, Yuya noticed new daily items in his stats and thought they were because of having a dog. He groomed Knight while wondering why his stats weren't improving, despite defeating strong enemies. Determined to figure out how to level up, Yuya went to school the next day and told his friends about Knight. Keith, who was interested in Knight, wanted to go with Yuya to the pet shop. Even though Yuya didn't have a smartphone, which surprised his friends, they suggested a nearby pet shop and animal clinic. Yuya invited them to come along, but only Keith agreed because the others had other plans. Keith, excited that it might be a date, agreed to go with Yuya to the pet shop. When Yuya got home, Knight was happy, and Yuya explained that their routine would continue, even though he had school. He showed Knight a new collar he had bought with Katie's help, and made sure it fit well. They enjoyed a walk in the park and didn't notice the attention they were getting. Yuya's friend Kaori was surprised by Knight's cuteness and learned that he was a found dog. She was impressed by Knight's responsiveness and praised his intelligence. Yuya met a fashion model who asked about his companion, putting him in an awkward situation. He introduced Kaori as a friend and Knight as family. Soon after, Yuya met another fashion model, Miyu, who hinted at why she was there. After a purse-snatching incident, Yuya and Knight caught the thief, impressing people as Yuya disarmed him. Later, Yuya and Knight went into the forest, fought monsters and faced more ogres. Knight defeated the ogres by himself. They made a plan to defeat a magical beast and found a valuable item afterward. At home, they enjoyed a bath before taking on another monster, using its weaknesses to boost their stats. Deep in the forest, they found a deserted area and discovered a mysterious book called the Book of the Sage. As Yuya flipped through the book, he learned that the sage had become so epic, he was practically a god. The gods wanted him to join their celestial squad, but he was like, nah, I'm good. The book gave Yuya a heads up that as he got stronger, people might freak out. The sage's ghostly advice was to find some trustworthy peeps to chill with. When Yuya asked to learn magic, the sage dropped some knowledge bombs in the book, but also pointed out that Yuya was a bit of a magic noob because he was from a different world and didn't have magical circuits. So, the sage hooked Yuya up with some magical circuits and wished him all the good vibes. Back at Yuya's crib, he dove into learning magic from the book. He started by feeling out the magical energy around him, then tried to control it by gathering it in his hand and picturing the magic he wanted. When he took his new skills for a spin outside, he conjured up a water ball that had enough oomph to blast through a tree. Meanwhile, in the royal capital, Alan was giving the king the lowdown on Yuya. When he mentioned the princess's proposal, the king flipped his lid, thinking Yuya might be playing some shady games with his daughter. Back at school, Yuya was daydreaming about the sage's warnings and the rare magic techniques he was picking up. The teacher announced a camping trip for the following week and split the students into groups of 4. Yuya got teamed up with Kaede, Akira and Rin for the trip. Kaede was pumped, but Yuya was gearless. Kaede suggested hitting up the mall for supplies, so off they went. Shingo was stunned to see Kaori, the director's daughter, joining them. Ryo was also surprised that Yuya was tight with her, but Kaori brushed it off, saying she was just another student. Yuya wondered what was up with Akira, who couldn't make it. At the mall, they grabbed a backpack for Yuya and then hit up an arcade. Shingo was all hyped about his favorite Crane game character, but admitted he was pretty awful at it. Yuya used his detect weakness skill, spotted the weak spot, and snagged the figure on his first try. Kaede wanted a cat plushie, and Yuya won that too, scoring prizes for everyone. Kaori, who had never been to an arcade before, was super grateful for the gift. The girls went clothes shopping while the guys chilled at a cafe. Just as Yuya was enjoying the day, an alarm blared signaling a fire and evacuation. Freaked out about the girls, Yuya found out from Ryo that they were trapped upstairs. He dashed up, determined to save his friends, and reached the source of the blaze. The sprinklers were useless, so Yuya decided to use his magic. He coated himself in a water shield and charged through the flames. He found the girls knocked out from smoke and covered them with his magic. Using his detection skills, Yuya confirmed they were the last ones in the building. The fire was getting worse and Yuya started sweating bullets. Ryo and Shingo told the firefighters about their missing friends, but the firefighters insisted they had to deal with the fire first. Yuya searched for an exit but found the roof had caved in. As he dodged falling debris, Kaori's gift fell from her grip. Stuck with no clear way out, Yuya used his magic to bust through the building and make a new exit. The place shook, but he managed to get the girls out safely. The firefighters gave him an earful for being reckless. Kaori's dad showed up, thanked Yuya for saving his daughter, and Yuya returned a pin he found. Kaori hugged her dad, and Yuya felt a pang of longing, realizing he didn't have a family of his own. But when he got home, Night rushed up to him, making Yuya realize he did have family after all. Yuya explored the potential of magic and realized it was the materialization of his imagination. He opened a portal to the dark forest, feeling excited, but found he could only travel to familiar places. He planned to use it to return home and feed Night. During a school trip, Yuya discovered a cave with goblins. He defeated them with his legendary sword and collected rare items. Night wanted to explore more, but Yuya insisted on heading back to prepare for the trip. Suddenly, Night ran off. Yuya followed and found Night sensing danger. Using invisibility, Yuya discovered an injured girl surrounded by goblins. He was about to help but was pulled back by Night. An elite goblin attacked, but Freds blocked its path. The girl cut off its arm but was soon overwhelmed. Yuya and Night defeated the goblins, and Yuya used his divine whip to crush them all, noting its power to handle multiple targets effortlessly. After the fight, Yuya debated taking Luna home, but was discouraged by Night. Luna woke up, fell, and Yuya healed her with his juice. She was surprised and asked who he was. Yuya introduced himself, and Night remained unfriendly. Luna explained she had been attacked by an elite goblin while training. Yuya told her he had defeated the goblins, and she was amazed he had carried her to safety. Luna apologized for her appearance, and Yuya set up a bath for her. She was impressed with the rare item and learned Yuya had obtained it from a crystal deer. Luna, who was there on a client's request, and he asked Yuya to join her training. Yuya agreed, feeling bad about leaving her alone. They trained together with Luna improving and defeating a goblin with her threads. Yuya praised her, but she said she needed to get stronger for her mission. Yuya mentioned his school trip, but Luna didn't understand, so he apologized. Luna thanked him for his help. On the school trip, Yuya played cards with his friends. Kaede noticed Yuya looked tired, and Yuya attributed his 5-game winning streak to luck and his high luck stat. He wondered if his luck had affected the incident with Luna. Yuya woke up as they reached their destination. The teacher explained they would camp for 2 days and must survive off the land with fish in the river and edible plants. The students worried about poisonous plants, but Sawada assured them the school doctor was on standby, though the students found her office's screams unsettling. Akira suggested skipping food for a day, but Sawada emphasized it was part of a competition between classes. Yuya asked about rewards, but Sawada revealed it impacted her bonus and urged them to do their best. The students remained unimpressed. The students were left in the forest. Yuya wondered what to do first, and while Akira was confident they would easily survive, the others ignored him. Rin suggested Yuya and Kaede fish, while she and Akira looked for edible plants. At the river, Kaede saw that the good spots were taken, and doubted their success. Yuya used his detection skill to find a new spot with fish. Although Kaede thought the water was too shallow for their pole, Yuya waded in and caught fish by hand, using what he had learned from Luna. Kaede was impressed, but the other students were puzzled. Yuya admitted he got carried away, thinking he should thank Luna for her advice. Meanwhile, Luna in a dark shop cut off puppet heads with her threads. Noting her improved power, she reflected on her time with Yuya, but revealed she was an assassin, the headhunter. Though she wished she could have met Yuya sooner, she had to focus on her next target. Yuya and Kaede stumbled upon Rin, who was doing a double take at the sight of Yuya catching fish with his bare hands. "Dude, did you just catch all those fish like some kind of magical fish whisperer?" Rin asked, astonished. Yuya then checked in on Akira, who was grumbling about how Rin had used him as a guinea pig for mushrooms and bear baiting. Yuya breathed a sigh of relief when he saw Akira wasn't poisoned. Rin and Akira showed off their plant finds, and Yuya used his skills to weed out any toxic ones. The crew marched to the building to present their haul, while other students were getting their food checked. Yuya bumped into Kaori, and they had a chill chat until she was called away. Akira shot Yuya envious glares, wishing he had Kaori's attention. Sawada was all praise for their impressive catch, and mentioned that they'd be graded on their cooking skills. Everyone's eyes turned to Yuya, and Sawada made it clear that her bonus was riding on his cooking. Yuya saw through her transparent ploy, but was game. He whipped up a meal using his solo living experience and knowledge from his otherworldly adventures. The team gobbled up the food, and Sawada was over the moon, saying it was even better than the school's top chef's creations. Yuya was on cloud 9, watching everyone savor his cooking. Then Sawada threw everyone for a loop by asking Yuya to marry her. She explained she couldn't cook or clean and had never been in a relationship. Despite the awkwardness and protests from the crowd, she was adamant. Yuya, feeling super awkward since she was his teacher, thanked her and complimented her teaching skills. Sawada was ecstatic and hugged him tightly while Kaede tried to pull Yuya away, and Akira thought Yuya was the luckiest guy ever. Later, Yuya teleported home to feed Night, then zipped back to camp. He found everyone gawking at him in the shower, clearly impressed by his physique. In the girls' bathroom, Rin was teasing Kaede about Sawada's unexpected marriage proposal. The girls were buzzing with speculation about Yuya's preferences and thoughts. The next morning, the students discovered their stuff had been trashed. Yuya quickly learned that a bear had shown up and was causing chaos. Sawada urgently warned everyone to take cover. As they scrambled, Sawada tripped and the bear lunged at her. Yuya swooped in, taking down the bear like a hero and knocking it out cold. Sawada was grateful and, despite not lecturing him this time, reiterated her marriage proposal, which Yuya politely declined. Kaori mentioned the bear might be kept as a guard or, if needed, eaten. The camping trip ended on a bizarre note with everyone safe. Back at his place, Yuya geared up to meet the king with Lexia. On the way, he ran into some demons and decided to handle them solo to keep Lexia's group safe. He took them out swiftly and found a cool helmet which he tried on. A curious rabbit watched him, and Yuya noticed it made Owen and the crew uneasy. As they continued to the palace, Night suddenly tackled Lexia as a tree came crashing down. Yuya quickly chopped the tree away, noticing Luna's threads and realizing Night was protecting the princess. Luna, trying to make a getaway, got knocked out by Yuya. Lexia joined Yuya, who explained Luna's attack and expressed his disbelief that she could be a villain. Yuya requested to heal Luna and bring her to his place for questioning. Lexia was intrigued, agreed, and they teleported back, leaving Owen behind. Lexia was amazed by the teleportation and waited eagerly for Luna to wake up. Lexia was curious about Yuya's teleportation spell. Yuya explained that he had simply imagined using magic to travel and had made it happen. Lexia was surprised and said that teleportation was rare and could cause problems if people found out. She told Yuya to be careful. Lexia confronted Luna, who admitted she had been pretending to sleep. Lexia noted that Yuya had known but had been polite about it. When Lexia asked about Luna's past, Luna, feeling despondent, asked to be killed. Yuya listened as Luna recounted her life as an orphan, trained as an assassin and joining the Dark Guild. Lexia explained that the guild orchestrated crimes, and Luna revealed she was the headhunter, known for many assassinations. Lexia was shocked, having heard of her before. Yuya realized this might explain Night's aggression. Luna said her failure meant certain death, either by execution or by Dark Guild assassins. Yuya, concerned, expressed that their brief time together made her a friend. Lexia offered Luna a job as her bodyguard to protect her from the guild, which Luna reluctantly accepted. Alan and his soldiers fled from goblins, leaving Lexia's safety to Yuya. Luna was surprised by Lexia's actions and intrigued by Yuya's special bath item, which created baths and had beauty benefits. Lexia insisted on using it and invited Luna, who nervously declined. In the bath, Lexia asked Luna if she liked Yuya. Luna said they were just friends, but Lexia announced her intention to marry Yuya and challenged Luna to a battle for his affection. Luna, wanting Yuya for herself, accepted and became Lexia's guard and rival. After the bath, Yuya offered to cook dinner. Lexia had trouble cooking, so Yuya took over. The girls enjoyed the meal, and Luna, jealous of Lexia's praise of Yuya, asked to be fed because of her wounds. Lexia then demanded to be fed as well, using her authority. Yuya complied. The next day, they met Owen and his men. Yuya introduced Knight and explained Luna's past as an assassin who had tried to kill Lexia, but would now be her guard. Owen was shocked and surrounded Luna, but Lexia defended her, saying that if Luna had wanted her dead, she would be. Owen agreed to monitor Luna, but suggested Yuya visit the palace another time. Yuya, needing to return to school, was directed to a village for directions to the capital. Lexia said goodbye, but Luna ran back to kiss him and thank him, leaving Lexia upset and demanding her own kiss. Owen ignored her and continued. Yuya reflected on the kiss and then found a new creature in his bath. He tamed it, named it Akatsuki, and was impressed with its skill, Holy Ground, which made him stronger. Back at school, Sawada announced a soccer competition that would affect their bonus. Yuya, though new to the rules, played as the goalkeeper. Rio scored a goal, and Rin's distraction allowed Akira to steal the ball. Yuya blocked Akira's shot and threw the ball into the other team's goal, surprising everyone. After school, Yuya turned down a modeling agency offer. The chief was stunned, but Yuya wanted to stay in school. Mise, who was on a magazine cover with Yuya, tried to persuade him, leaving his friends wide-eyed. Nearby, a sports poster landed and Kaori ran after it. The chief then pitched a school article and photo shoot, hoping to get the green light. In another world, Yuya fought a skeleton monster but felt stuck. He ventured deeper into the forest and found black trees that couldn't be damaged by normal attacks. Suddenly, a mithril boar attacked, but a talking rabbit named Usagi showed up, effortlessly taking out the boar and smashing the black trees. Yuya was stunned by Usagi's strength. Usagi asked Yuya to show off his kick. Impressed, Usagi started training him. Yuya smashed a tree and sparred with Usagi. Usagi, who was a divine, explained he protected the world from the Vile and wanted Yuya to take over his role. Yuya thought about protecting Knight and Akatsuki. They agreed to swap knowledge. Usagi would teach Yuya his moves, and Yuya would share magic. Later, Yuya had to face a King Mithril. Usagi saw it as a perfect chance for a rematch. Yuya struggled but used his kicks and whip to win. He found SS ranked items in the loot. Usagi explained there were even rarer Triple S ranked and EX ranked monsters, and the Vile were even stronger. Yuya then got a notification about evolving, glowing, and getting new skills. The next day, Yuya played table tennis against the national champ, the Sniper. He missed the first serve, but smashed the next one with so much power it put a hole in the table. To avoid getting hurt, he forfeited, and the photographers were not happy. Kaede pulled Yuya into a volleyball game because of an injury, and the chief came along. The game started with a bang. The ball popped and the cord snapped, causing the other team to forfeit. The chief realized the photographers were distracted and missed the shot. Kaede reassured Yuya that a win was a win, but their joy was interrupted by a scream. Kaori's teammate was carried away, warning Yuya about the serve. Yuya stepped in for the tennis match, with opponents warning him he might get hurt. Kaori served, missed, and threw her racket. Yuya found out Kaori caused the injury and took control of the game, covering every shot. Kaori threw her racket again and nearly fell, but Yuya caught her. The chief finally got the perfect shot. Kaori, grateful, offered to treat Yuya, but he was just happy to be with her. Kaori kissed him, sealing the moment. Meanwhile, Usagi fought a Vile and used magic, surprising a girl who thought he was powerless. Realizing Yuya was a bigger threat, she decided to find him. The agency chief was thrilled with the latest photos of Yuya, predicting high sales for their next issue. Her assistant worried that other agencies might snap Yuya up, but the chief wasn't worried. She had a plan to lock Yuya into their agency. At Yuya's place, he and Kaori were studying together. Yuya thanked her for the math help, and Kaori appreciated his English lessons. While studying in the restroom, Kaori stumbled upon a hidden door to another world. Yuya explained it was a realm full of monsters and magic. Kaori was blown away and agreed to check it out. They crossed over, and Kaori was astonished by the reality of it. Yuya introduced her to Knight and Akatsuki, who was a bit miffed at the comparison. Kaori's impressive stats caught Yuya off guard. He worried he might have shown off too much, but promised to show her more later and asked her to keep it under wraps. Kaori felt a special connection with him. In the capital, Lexia returned alone, and the king found out Luna had tried to kill her. When the king tried to execute Luna, she blocked his attack with ease, impressing him. Lexia defended Luna, saying she had chosen her as a guard and would be devastated if her father harmed her. The king grudgingly accepted Luna, learning she was a former headhunter for the Dark Guild captured by Yuya. Upset with Lexia staying with Yuya, the king planned to confront him. Meanwhile, the master assassin who tried to kill Lexia was revealed as the first prince, Rygar. He planned to use a magic sealing barrier to neutralize magic users and guards, hoping to frame Yuya if things went wrong. On his day off, Yuya was farming and stumbled upon a rare bedding item. In a nearby town, he saw cat girls and visited the guild to trade but had no money. The guild master, who suspected Yuya might be a noble, was skeptical when Yuya claimed to be ordinary. The master was astonished by Yuya's item box skill and offered him 100 gold coins for high-quality peppers, explaining that it could support a family for 20 years. He gave Yuya a guild card and directed him to the capital. In the bustling capital, Yuya was overwhelmed by the crowd. At the palace, Owen greeted him and told him about an informal audience with the king. The king was furious to learn that Lexia had proposed to Yuya and was even angrier when he saw the bedding gift, thinking it was a romantic gesture. Owen tried to explain, but the king remained livid. Just then, assassins attacked. The magic sealing barrier blocked the guards' arrows, but Yuya and Knight quickly took down the assassins. Lexia praised Yuya for his bravery, making Luna green with envy. The king's hostility didn't wane, and Owen discovered an emblem on the assassins, revealing that the first prince, Rygar, was behind the attack. News of the attack spread like wildfire, and the king went full-on hermit mode. Yuya got roped into protecting Lexia, who was buzzing about a capital tour. Luna offered to show Yuya around, but Lexia was like, "Nah, I'm coming too." Alan tried to pitch in with a castle tour, but both girls were like, "Thanks, but no thanks." While cruising the city, Yuya was all about checking out the Adventurers Guild. Luna was like, "Dude, you gotta register if you want to cash in on monster loot and quests." She signed up herself and tried to drag Lexia along, but Lexia was like, hard pass. At the guild, Emilia handed out forms. Yuya put down only wind, fire, and water magic, keeping his other skills on the down low. Emilia busted out a crystal ball to measure magical energy, but it exploded like a firecracker. She was like, "Whoa, dude, you're like a fairy tale character." Lexia was blown away, and Yuya was relieved he hadn't shown off everything. Emilia wrapped up their registration, warning them to start as F-ranked adventurers and not to go overboard with gathering. While checking out the quest board, Yuya got hit up by Glenda, who was clearly tipsy and wanted to team up. The girls swooped in saying Glenda was plastered. Lexia was all stressed about other women flirting with Yuya, and Luna reminded her about Owen's drama. Their first quest was to grab herbs. Yuya's magic gave them the scoop on harvesting. Luna struggled with not wrecking the roots, so Lexia suggested a herb gathering competition. Winner gets a date with Yuya. Owen warned them not to overharvest, but they were too busy bickering. After the girls headed off, Yuya found a mana healing plant, and a seriously toxic one. Owen showed up breathless, saying they'd tracked down the first prince and needed Yuya's help. They busted into an abandoned house where the prince was threatening a guard. Knight swooped in and saved the guard, while Alan cornered the prince, who was all like, "I'll off myself." Yuya had to step in and knock the prince out cold. Just as they were about to haul the prince off, boom! The house exploded. The prince was relieved to see a vile girl, but she spilled her plan to use him to kick off wars and cause chaos. The prince was all, "Wait, what?" And the girl got ready to finish him off. Alan got hit by an arrow while trying to intervene, and the girl kept shooting arrows like a pro. Despite her mad skills, Yuya used magic to send the arrows flying. The girl recognized Yuya and bailed, too tired to keep fighting. The prince was captured, and Yuya was left scratching his head about the girl's shady motives. Rygar was dragged in front of the king, his body looking like a messed up pizza with scars. Lexia was totally freaked out, realizing she'd caused those wounds with her rogue magic. Rygar, who'd lost his marbles from the pain and wanted to check out early, laid the blame on the king for leaving him high and dry. He begged for a quick exit, but Yuya stepped up with his healing juice. The scars vanished like magic, making everyone's jaws hit the floor. The king was like, "Whoa, that's the legendary cure-all herb." Yuya played it cool, saying he grew it himself. Even though Rygar was a major troublemaker, including trying to off Lexia and the king, Lexia pulled a total boss move and pardoned him. The king wasn't thrilled, but caved after Lexia's relentless persuasion. Rygar got a shiny new title of Lord Knight, some land, and a fancy mansion. Lexia and Luna even threw in marriage proposals, but the king's reward was the cherry on top. Back in his room, Yuya crashed and dreamt about throwing down with the mysterious girl. He woke up with a jolt at school and rushed home, his mind all tangled up with thoughts of her. The next day, his friends tried to drag him out, but he bolted home, all worried about the upcoming threat. Back in the other world, he was training like a madman, when suddenly the girl Yuti launched a sneak attack, all set on taking him down. Meanwhile, Kaori swung by Yuya's house for some study time and found the door wide open. She decided to check out the other world and stumbled upon Yuti attacking Yuya with arrows. Yuya and Night were throwing down with Yuti, but she was seriously impressed by Yuya's strength and wanted to take him out before he got any stronger. Kaori got caught up in the chaos, and Yuya tried to protect her, leading to an epic explosion. As Yuti was gearing up for her ultimate move, Usagi showed up, apologizing for being late. He dropped the bomb that Yuti was the Divine Archer's disciple, out for revenge because her master got iced by humanity. She wasn't playing by the Divine Covenant rules anymore. Usagi and Yuya tag-teamed against Yuti, with Usagi mimicking Yuya's moves to create an opening and landing a sick kick. Yuti, all about revenge, unleashed her vile powers with a scream that shook the ground. Yuya struggled to hold his own, and Yuti turned her fury on Usagi, who took a nasty hit. Just as things looked grim, Akatsuki showed up and used his Holy Ground skill to neutralize Yuti's vile power. With her strength in the dumps, Yuya knocked her out cold. Usagi explained that holy beasts like Akatsuki were the sworn enemies of the Vile, and Yuti wouldn't be using her vile powers anytime soon. He left Yuya to handle Yuti and prepped to head out. Meanwhile, Kaori, caught off guard by a monster, got saved by Yuya's quick shot. She heard Yuya talk about the rough life he's been living and was worried she'd see him differently because of it. Kaori reassured him, saying he hadn't changed a bit since the first time he saved her. She admitted she'd always admired his kindness and had liked him from the get-go.